The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the quiet town of Willowbrook. The air was cool, and the scent of fresh rain lingered in the breeze. A small, cozy house stood at the edge of the town, its windows softly glowing in the evening light. Inside, the atmosphere was heavy with silence, broken only by the soft ticking of an old clock on the wall. Isla sat by the window, staring out at the world she once knew but now seemed so far away. Her heart, like the day, felt both heavy and faded. She thought about Lucas. Her Lucas. A smile crossed her lips as memories flooded her mind, days filled with laughter, shared dreams, and the quiet comfort of knowing he was there. He had been her world, her light in the darkest moments. But love, she had learned the hard way, often comes with a price. And that price was one she had not fully understood until now. Isla had met Lucas when she was just a girl, a dreamer full of hope and aspirations. He had been older, wiser, with a kind smile and eyes that held a depth of understanding that made her feel safe. He had always been there for her, through every tear and every smile. Together, they had built a life, a simple life, but one filled with love. They didn't need much, all they needed was each other. But life, like love, is never without its challenges. As the years passed, Lucas had become ill. At first, it was small things, fatigue, headaches, a lingering cough. But soon, it became clear that his condition was serious. The doctors spoke in hushed tones, their faces grim. They told Isla that Lucas had a terminal illness. A disease that no treatment could cure. They gave him only a few months to live. The news shattered Isla's world. It was as if the ground had been pulled from beneath her, leaving her struggling to find her balance. But despite the crushing weight of fear and sadness, Isla knew that she could not break. Lucas needed her now more than ever. The days that followed were filled with hospital visits, medications, and long nights spent by his side. Isla never left him. She watched as the man she loved slowly withered away, his strength draining, his laughter fading into silence. Every day, she held him close, comforting him with words of love and reassurance, even though her heart was breaking. But in those moments, there was a quiet, unspoken understanding between them. They knew what was happening. They knew the time they had left was slipping away like sand through their fingers. And yet, they cherished every second, even as their hearts were heavy with sorrow. One night, as Isla sat beside Lucas's bed, holding his hand, he turned to her with a weak smile. His eyes were filled with love, but there was also a sadness in them, a sadness that mirrored her own. Isla, he whispered, his voice barely audible. You've been so strong for me. But I'm afraid I won't be here much longer. Tears welled up in Isla's eyes, but she blinked them away, squeezing his hand tighter. I'll always be here, Lucas, she replied softly. I'll never leave you. I promise. Lucas closed his eyes, a faint sigh escaping his lips. I wish I could give you more, Isla. I wish I could be the man you deserve. Isla leaned down, pressing a kiss to his forehead. You are everything I need, Lucas. I don't need anything more than you. But as the days passed, the pain became unbearable. Lucas's body grew weaker, and Isla could see the toll it was taking on him. He no longer had the strength to speak, but his eyes still conveyed everything he couldn't say. And in those eyes, Isla saw not only his love for her but also his guilt. He felt as if he was taking something from her, the time, the future, the dreams they had yet to fulfill. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Lucas whispered to Isla once more. I want you to live, Isla. I want you to find happiness, even when I'm gone. The words struck Isla like a thunderclap. How could she live without him? How could she possibly find happiness when the one person she loved more than anything in the world was slipping away? I can't, she whispered back, tears streaming down her face. I can't live without you, Lucas. You are my everything. But Lucas smiled, a smile that was both sad and peaceful. You will. You'll find a way. You're strong, Isla. Stronger than you think. And you deserve to live, to love again. The days after that conversation were the hardest of Isla's life. She held Lucas close, trying to memorize every moment, every breath, every touch. But despite her efforts, the inevitable came. One quiet morning, Lucas passed away in his sleep, leaving Isla with a gaping hole in her heart. The grief that followed was all-consuming. For days, Isla couldn't bring herself to leave the house. The world outside seemed too bright, too loud, too full of life, while she felt like she was drowning in her own sorrow. She spent her days staring at the empty space beside her, wishing for one more moment, one more chance to hold Lucas in her arms. But in the silence, she also began to hear his voice again. Not the sound of his words, but the feeling of them, the love, the warmth, the devotion that had always been there. He was gone, but his presence remained. And in that presence, Isla found something unexpected: strength. She began to understand what Lucas had meant. He hadn't asked her to move on or forget him. He had asked her to live. To find a way to carry on, not in spite of his death, but because of the love they had shared. He had given her everything he could: his love, his heart, his soul. And now, it was her turn to honor that gift. Isla slowly started to rebuild her life. It was not easy. The pain was always there, lurking just beneath the surface, but she began to find moments of peace. She took long walks through the town, where the memories of her and Lucas lingered in every corner. She spent time with friends, who gently encouraged her to keep going, to embrace life even as she carried the weight of her loss. In time, Isla learned to love again, not in the same way she had loved Lucas, but in a new, quieter way. She found solace in the memories they had created, in the love that had been so pure and deep. She realized that the price of love was not just sacrifice, but also the ability to carry on, to live fully in honor of the love that had once been. The pain never fully went away. It was a part of her now, like a scar that would always be there. But she had learned that love, even in its deepest form, is not meant to weigh you down. It is meant to lift you up, to help you grow, and to remind you that you are never truly alone. And so, as the years went on, Isla carried Lucas with her. She never forgot him, never stopped loving him. But she learned to live without him, finding joy in the simple things, and embracing the beauty of life, even in its sorrow. She had paid the price of love, the sacrifice, the pain, the heartache. But in the end, it was worth it. Because love, no matter how painful, is always worth it. As Isla sat by the window one evening, watching the sun set once again, she felt a warmth spread through her chest. It was as if Lucas was there beside her, his presence surrounding her in a way that words could not describe. She closed her eyes, letting the tears fall freely. They were not tears of sorrow, but of gratitude. Because love, she realized, is not just about holding on. It's also about letting go, of fear, of pain, of the past, and finding a way to move forward with the love that remains. And that, in the end, is the true power of love. The ability to embrace both the joy and the sorrow, and to find peace in the process.